Hello everyone and welcome to the GenAIScript channel. My name is Pelly and today I'm going to talk about using Azure AI Inference Models, which are part of the Azure AI Foundry. And we're going to see how we can get started with that in GenAIScript. Azure AI Inference Model is a serverless way to run models using the Azure cloud. And you don't have to do deployment. You're basically paying as you use tokens. So it's a very flexible way to play with models before you want to do dedicated deployment. All right, so let's take a look at the docs. And we're here in the docs. If you're in our documentation, just search for Azure AI Inference. You'll see the Azure AI Foundry documentation. There's various ways to configure models from Azure AI Foundry, whether you want to do deployments or not. But in this case, we're going to look at Azure AI Inference, which is a very flexible one. You can do manage, identity, entra, or you can do key-based authentication as well. So we're going to do key-based here. So we need to grab the endpoint from the Azure AI Foundry portal and then also the key. If I go to the portal, and I had to create a project. So I created a project and I land here. When you're on your landing page on the overview, you've got your endpoint here. And that's really the first thing you need is your endpoint. So take that, copy that, go back to your editor, go to your env file, and then put it into this Azure AI Inference API endpoint variable. Now the other variable is the key, which I won't demo, but you can find the key back in the editor, and the key is right here. If you copy the key back into the editor in the Azure AI Inference API key, and this is all documented, then you're good to go. And we have more documentation about the entra route, which is a bit more trickier. All right, so once you have that running, you can just hit the models. There's a default in GenAIScript, we'll use GPT-4o, and it's going to see that the configuration is available. It's just going to run and generate token using 4o. If we go into trace, we can see that it's now using 4o, Azure AI Inference 4.0. But I can change that so I can, for example, say that I want the Azure AI Inference GPT-4o Mini. We'll look at where the list of models is. And now I can run this again. And we can see that it ran, and if we look at the configuration, it ran against Mini. In fact, if we dig into the request, we can see that it passed the model name here into the request. All right, so that's the usual GenAIScript, but we are now running against Azure AI Inference service, so it's very flexible to try multiple models without having to deploy. By going back to the inference model, once you're in the website, you can go to the catalog and you can filter by, I think, Serverless API probably, and figure out which models you want to try. Some models are, you have to ask. You have, I think, to get into a list, so not all of them are ready to roll. But for example, if you want to do DeepSeek, it's already accessible, and you can just run the big DeepSeek, so the 671B. So that's all flexible in there, and then you can basically browse the catalog and figure out what you want. If you look at the model name, that's the name you're going to be interested to put in GenAIScript. All right, so that's the video. That's what we did today. We showed how to use the Azure AI Inference Models in GenAIScript.